Welcome everyone to the Maha Report, where we discuss the latest Man United news. Another interesting, busy day with stories coming out. I think the first thing we need to look at really is the big game we have against Newcastle. It's a big game because it's going to be a vital 3 points. What I thought last time was that we had a week off between the Newcastle game and the Chelsea game because we could play our between the Chelsea game and the City game because we had a week off. But what's transpired is they've changed the schedule and now we've got Palace midweek, so it's going to be Chelsea away, Palace away, City away, and that's going to be a tough run going forward. So we really need to make the most of the 3 points available to us this weekend. It's also an opportunity, so Ollie really needs to play the strongest team because we can use the return leg of the Europa League as an option to rotate the team, get some of the fringe players in and have our main starters on the bench. In case of an emergency, barring a miracle that Sociedad come back into the match with a few early goals, and then we need to control the game. But ideally, if we can get our best players on the pitch against Newcastle, get that 3 points, give them a break for a week before we go to Chelsea and go on that run where potentially, if we don't get the points against Newcastle, we could end up being out of the top four. And so let's risk it. I know a few people have got niggles like McTominay and Donny, but if we can just get the most out of this game, they'll have a week off, they can rest, prepare for the Chelsea game, and then it will be, I generally believe it will be a big difference, because if we win the 3 points and then whatever we get out of the Chelsea and City game, we should still be in the top four race. We shouldn't be out of it. But if we end up dropping, if we only got 1 point out of 9, that's going to be a big disadvantage for us. It will allow Chelsea, who are 4 points behind, back in the game, and it will just become really difficult. So I need Ollie. We need him to be smart. We need to go all in this against Newcastle. Even with the players who might be carrying niggles, they can have a rest during midweek when we get the fringe players on against Sociedad, and it will be a chance for us to be in a strong position going into the Chelsea game. And I hope that I expect us to win. I think we can get past their low block. Steve Bruce is having a difficult time at Newcastle at the moment, but they are fighting their own battles. They're only a few points off 17th place, so a loss to us could drag them into they're in the relegation battle, but it could really drag them into it, and we don't want to underestimate their ability and or their desire for the game and get called out. We really need to go full throttle, full first team. Any top player with niggling injuries need to start, and we just have to take that risk so we can go into the Chelsea, Palace and mainly City game not worrying too much about the result, but it will definitely give us a good cushion going into those matches if we can get the big 3 points this weekend. In other news, I think something that really stuck out for me, though I'm more hopeful than expectant, is that there are rumours that we're interested in Juventus chief scout Matteo Tognesi, who is apparently doing his qualifications for sporting director role, which I didn't know you had a degree in that, or that was something you need to do. But when you look at his background, it seems he's really qualified for the position. It seems that he's got networks in Russia, Germany, around Europe. He's if you look at Juventus's transfer policies over the last 3-4 years, it's been really good, and it goes back into my philosophy about on two fronts. Firstly, the need of a director of football that we can pin our football philosophy to. And so then it becomes a case of we're trying to find the players and the managers that suit the club philosophy, like a Bayern Munich, rather than signing players according to the manager's philosophy, and where you end up with a squad full of mismatch. For every Bruno, we've got a Donny. For every Wan-Bissaka, we've got somebody like Maguire. They don't mesh because our football philosophy is not set, and that really comes with a director of football who overlooks everything, and he makes sure that not only do we hire the managers that suit the club's long-term vision, but also the type of players that will suit. So even if we have to let go of the manager, the squad suits each other. It's not a mismatch. A Donny and a Pogba go together, whereas a Fernandes and a McTominay go together. In another team, these players would not be in the same team based on style of football. And it just tells you how kind of mixed up our squad is, because we've had different managers come in, they've brought in different players and for different philosophies. Now we've got 10, 15 players that don't suit any particular one, like they don't all gel into one philosophy. They're all got different attributes, different qualities. And this is why we really need them. And the second point I want to make, and I hope this is true, that we are linked to this guy and we're looking at signing somebody. I'm not convinced, because I know Ed Woodward loves playing FIFA mode. He thinks he's an expert. He loves just going in the market and just spending 50, 60 million on any player that's currently trending. Not really looking at what does he suit our style, does he fit the Man United philosophies. None of that. If he's a world-class player, we'll sign him, or potential. There's no planning to this at all. And that's why you need a director of football. And the second reason we need him is because we don't get ripped off. There's this consistent effort on British players or Premier League players, and we're paying 60 to 80 million for players that the equivalent European players won't be worth that much, and we can get better quality in Europe. And if we have a director of football who's an expert in Europe, like the Juventus Chief Scout that could be available, we can look at alternative players. Declan Rice and Ndidi are great players, but we know we can't spend 80 million on either one of them and then get Sancho and then get 60, 70 million on Kwande, and then then another centre forward that we might need, depending on how Cavani goes. So this is something that really needs to come in. So there's a direction, and somebody with expertise of the European market, world market even, where we can find these NDDs and type players before the Leicesters do, and we can get them on good deals and they make an impact. Well, we don't have to pay over the top for British players, that quite frankly are over expensive. A quality of Declan Rice in Europe would not cost 80 million. We could easily get them for 30 or 40 million. And it's time that we improve our scouting network, we improve their overall direction and leadership, and that comes with the director of football. So there's two fronts to it. It's about the long-term philosophy of this club, the players that we have, that they all mesh, the managers that we bring in, so there's no change to the system. This is what we do. We look for people that suit that system, not who's the manager, what is he into, and we buy players to suit. And then we have this squad full of a mismatch of players that doesn't suit all one way, and we're constantly trying to fill a void. Every time there's a new manager, we need a different kind of midfielder, we need a different type of centre-back or striker. And with somebody from Europe, with his experience and knowledge, that would be a great opportunity for us to also get good value deals for European world players, not British players with the British tax. And Declan Rice is great, but I'd rather have 2 or 3 world-class European players or world-class players from around the world for 30, 40 million than spend 80 million on Declan Rice and we still not good enough to play for the title. It doesn't make sense to me. He wouldn't solve all our problems. We got multiple positions to resolve. So yeah, I love the news about the whole director of football. I'm not convinced, to be honest. I think Ed Woodward loves the power and control he has at the moment. He believes he's an expert in football, so based on his decisions, he doesn't think he needs the advice or the help. So he's going to play along with this until he gets a sack, to be honest with you. And I think that if Glazier's like not paying the extra fee for the director of football, not realising how much money they could save if they had a proper person in place who could implement their philosophies. And I hope it's true. I'm not hopeful. I'm not. Hope, I don't know if hope was the right word. I just don't think it will happen. But it would be great if we did finally sign that guy on two fronts, where we get our recruitment policy in tangent, and it's, you know, we look for the players based on a style rather than we bring in people and then try to adjust us to their style, whether it's coaches or players. And that's the way clubs that run well, like Bayern Munich, operate. And that's the model we need to follow. So let's hope it's true. I don't believe it is, but it would be great if that is something they are looking at. And I hope going forward it is something that is in the work at some point that we do address at our club. Another thing I wanted to address really is there seems to be this thing among our fan base that we're going to go out this summer and sign Sancho and a striker and a CDM, Declan Rice, Ndidi, and a centre-back for 60. I don't think we have, on two fronts, we don't have the finances to do that, and I don't think we have the resources to do that, because we've seen how slow Matt Judge and Ed Woodward are when dealing with not only transfers into the club, but transfers out of the club. You know, we've got a lot of players that we struggled to get rid of in the last few windows, and they're just not capable of dealing with 3, 4, 5 transfers at the same time. I would be surprised and if we got 2 signings in and a few players out. And for me, they would be the centre-back. I just don't think the United board, whatever is going on at the club, think CDM is a priority position. I just don't believe they think it's important at all. I don't think it's on anybody's radar. So I'll be surprised if we make any move for Declan Rice or Ndidi, or even a player in the European market. So that I don't see that's a no-go. I think we will be looking at centre-backs. I think we're going to spend all summer dragging out whoever the centre-back is, trying to buy him. We're going to spend all summer dragging out the deal to get rid of some players like Matic, and if we do get rid of him, or Mata, Lingard, these deals are going to take so long. And I just want the United fan base to be more realistic. Looking at our past, the past way we've worked in the recent windows, it just doesn't seem like something that they can achieve. I would be shocked, and what we saw Chelsea do in the previous window was incredible. I just don't see our current infrastructure set up with the way Matt Judge and Ed Woodward work, and then they need the signing off from Joel Glazier, I believe. It just seems a lot of boxes to tick before anything gets done at the club, and everything is slow. And I just think we need to be realistic this summer, and I don't want to be, dismissive or negative about the whole thing. But I let's get the centre back sorted. Let's get Maguire the partner he needs, so we no longer have excuses for him. And then, I really want the CDM. That's my priority position personally, but I just don't think the club are interested. And it could be we do to sort out the right wing position, but I've said it in the previous videos. What was the point of signing Diallo if we're not going to invest in him now and give him the opportunities and hope that he does work out? And even if he works out, in the ideal situation, he works out, we don't need a right winger in the summer. The worst situation is we've just lastminute.com bought some player with potential, he doesn't work out, and then we've wasted 40 million, and we're going to go out and spend another 80 million on Sancho. So I'll be shocked. I don't think we're going to get Sancho this summer, not because I just don't think we're interested. It doesn't make sense in going back after him after the Diallo deal. I don't think the board are aware of the CDM issue. I don't think they even care. I think it's really the centre back and maybe up front because of the ongoing thing with Cavani and Martial. We just don't seem to fixate on a number 9. I don't know what it is. And probably the Pogba thing, which I'm going to get to next, and that might have a big say in our transfer dealings this summer. So speaking of Pogba, I wanted to address this because I feel like people are in denial about the situation, and I don't know why. It's pretty clear he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to stay. It's like asking the hot girl at school to the prom, and then she says, "I'll think about it," because she's waiting for the better offer to come, and then you're waiting around hoping she says yes, and at the last minute she gets the better offer, and she goes with that person, and you're left there by yourself with no other options. And this is where I'm frustrated with our United board, because according to to the rumours, the news, they're not really planning for, they're not being proactive about this. They're just hoping that he doesn't go. Now, I can see what's going to happen is it's potential due to COVID and money issues, clubs might not be able to afford him. But I think the more likely scenario is that we're going to wait to the last minute, hope he signs our contract, and then he'll get a better deal and he'll be off to Juventus or Madrid. And then we're going to go into the next season a midfielder down, and especially a midfielder of his quality. And it makes no sense for me to employ this game plan. It just is so reactive, and where they need to be more proactive. They need to decide right now, look, clearly he doesn't want to be here. We're his third or fourth option. He's hoping to leave. Let's actively try and get rid of him now. Let's look at replacements so that we don't drag out our summer window trying to find a replacement for him at the last minute. That's exactly what you don't need. There's no point having somebody who doesn't want to be in this relation with you. And, Luke Shaw's done an interview where he said that Pogba's great in the dressing room. Everybody loves his company. They just, he's different to the noise outside. And when you say noise, we're referring to his agent, Raiola, who's always on the news complaining, saying how bad the club is run and management and so on, trying to get his player out of there. Now, that's all great hearing that Pogba's good in the dressing room and he's separate from them. But at the end of the day, he chose this man to represent him. So if that's not his views, then he needs to tell Raiola to shut up. If that is his views, then he's being a sheep in wolf's clothing. And so we still need to get rid of him. So either way, it's poor leadership from him. Because if he's not his words, then he needs to address it. And if it is his words, then he's mugging us off. So I don't see why we're sitting around waiting, hoping for him to choose us, when clearly he's hoping for a better deal. He's hoping that, somebody else, Madrid or Juventus, come in. And all that's going to happen is we're going to get mugged off in the last minute, and we're going to go into the new season needing a new midfielder. And we're probably, the worst case scenario is Ed Woodward doing a last day deal to bring him in. And I just feel like we have to be honest. We're kind of burying our heads in the sand about Pogba. We don't want to address it because of the player that he is and the quality he brings. We're kind of just hoping it goes away, hoping he runs out of options, and hoping he signs the new contract. We just need to be like, look, we're not the first choice, and that's not good enough. We can't be third or fourth choice. He needs to want to be here, lead the club to the next title. For the first one since the real title since Fergie left. I exclude the Europa Cup, but for me the Prem is the one I'm referring to, and he clearly doesn't want to. He's hoping something else comes up. We shouldn't be waiting around hoping that he doesn't get another option and then he picks us. We need to move on. We need to be proactive, get him off our books, bring in a player of equal quality. I know that's difficult, but that's better us planning ahead than being shortchanged at the last minute. We're left holding nothing, and then we're going in, like we spent this season complaining about needing a centre back and a CDM, but we're going to go into the new season complaining about needing a new midfielder and a CDM. We might have just solved our centre back. So it doesn't make sense to me. I really hope. I just have no trust in Ed Woodward and the way the board run their things up, run things up there, and I can see us being shortchanged at the last minute. He's going to leave, and then we're either going to have no players, or we're going to buy in a last minute replacement who is going to be hit, hap-dash decision, and it might not suit our football because we don't have a director of football, we don't have a set strategy or plan when it comes to recruitment, and then we're just continuing this cycle of mess in terms of recruitment. And I think we need to just, fans, club, management, everybody need to get their heads out of the sand, be done with Pogba, move on, be proactive. Let's look at, and the quicker we get on with the deal, the better we are with the better replacement, and hopefully that will be still better off. Even if we lose him this summer, we'll be better off next season and more prepared to challenge for the title. That would be the best solution going forward.